Welcome to Seed Summit. My name is Jeanette. I'm the Development Director for the Seafood and Wine Festival. I'm really excited for today and tomorrow. So today, Breaking the Vegan Mode with Desiree Rodriguez and Inga Onimosa. So Desiree created the food blog Rican Vegan after switching to a plant-based diet and experiencing the health benefits firsthand. She creates healthy plant-based versions of traditional Latin dishes on her blog to show that you can still enjoy flavorful food on a vegan diet. And Inga is a certified raw vegan chef, yoga instructor, and founder of food and holistic lifestyle blog Yes Baby I Like It Raw. She believes that food is healing, art is medicinal, and yoga is therapeutic. I'll turn it over to the dynamic duo. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How's everyone feeling?
So, I'm Desiree. I created the blog Rican Vegan. So basically, I was a foodie. I used to eat anything and everything before I switched to a plant-based diet. I thought I was relatively healthy, thinking that, eating low-fat foods and fat-free foods will make me a healthier person, but in reality it wasn't. I used to break out in hives and have dry skin patches. And one weekend I was watching a bunch of Netflix documentaries, and basically I saw the light and was like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. People on the documentaries were basically claiming that plant-based diet were curing all of their sicknesses, so I was like, let me give it a try. I did it, and a few months later I had lost probably 25 pounds that have stayed off until now, and my hives disappeared. They never came back. And also my dry skin patches disappeared. So I was like, okay, great, this is working out for me. But then every time I would kind of cheat on the diet, everything started coming back. The hives, the dry skin patches, so I knew it was in the food. So basically I was like, I have to stick with this. This is a lifetime switch, and I have to deal with it because this is the only way I could feel healthier. So after switching for a while, I started missing my traditional Latin foods. And basically I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to incorporate my Latin seasonings into a plant-based diet, and started experimenting and liked the way the flavors were coming out. So that's how I created the blog Rican Vegan. It was just on my experience of transferring to a plant-based diet.
Hi, my name is Inga. My journey is a little complicated. It's the result of me being sick and tired of being sick and tired. When I was 13 years old, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor and a rare autoimmune disorder very shortly after. And so by the time I was 19, I had like 5 doctors that I saw on a regular basis, a neurologist, an endocrinologist, the list goes on. And I was on medication, and I remember asking the doctor, will I ever see a day where I didn't need to be on medication? And the doctor essentially said no. And I was just like, you know what, there has to be a better way. And I always would find, I was a super nerd, so I'd always ask questions, and my doctors weren't communicating, and they were always providing conflicting information. So I decided to take my healing into my own hand, and I decided that being plant-based would be the route for me to go, as well as taking on an herbal protocol. Being plant-based wasn't something that wasn't familiar for me, because I grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and if anyone knows about that religion, we preach within that context of plant-based diet or kosher. So it was just me making that transition and going plant-based and being able to now say that I'm not on meds. So I made that change 16 years ago, and a lot of times people see me, they don't anticipate seeing a vegan that is Haitian, because within the Haitian construct, veganism is not normal. And I created this blog called Yes Baby I Like It Raw, because I transitioned my diet into a more raw diet. But it's about helping people to tap into their raw potential, and knowing that you can, everything you need to heal yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically lies within first. So that's how I started Yes Baby I Like It Raw, and I just wanted to show different images and different recipes with respect to the plant-based diet. So breaking the vegan mold. A lot of times when people think about veganism, they think about it within a certain framework. I'll use myself as a personal experience, and I know she's going to use the story as well. I have a lot of people who say to me, "You eat like white people." And I'm like, "Well, what do white people eat like?" And they're like you. And I'm like, white people don't even necessarily eat like me. So there's this framework of veganism being something that is Eurocentric and very affluent. But when we start to look at the global movement of plant-based diets, there are vegans in different types of contexts. In Ethiopia, they advocate for vegan fasts. Rastafarianism is a religion in Jamaica that is a plant-based diet. We also have in Hinduism, they preach a plant-based diet, but within the Western framework, we always think of veganism being limited to a certain group of people.
Right, like in my case, a lot of people, when I told them I was plant-based, they say, well, you can't be plant-based, you're Puerto Rican. Like, there's no way you can do that. I'm like, yes, it is. There is a way because I'm eating Puerto Rican food on a daily basis and it's still plant-based. Like, they just told me it was impossible to do it. And I was like, well, it's possible because I'm doing it and I'm going to show you how I do it. So basically, it's just, being true to yourself and just saying, you know what, I'm this way, I'm going to adopt a plant-based lifestyle, whether, it's religion, for religious reasons, health reasons, for activism, it's your decision and you just got to go with it.
So we brought this meme up because there's this perception of what vegans eat, grass, carrots, salad all day. Whenever you go to a non-plant-based event, it's like, yeah, we got vegan options, and then they give you this wax salad. And so what was really important for both of us when we had a conversation about what we're going to speak about is that you can be plant-based, and there's a lot of diversity within the plant-based construct.
Right, it goes beyond just salad. Like, I try not to eat salad as much because I know that there's so many options that you take just like things like jackfruit and make it into a vegan pulled pork sandwich, things like that. So it's just like learning and educating yourself about the different types of substitutes that are out there and just adopting them and making them your own. And also another myth buster, I guess you could say, is that you have to be rich to be a vegan.
Yeah.
I know I'm not rich. So I look for sales all the time on plant-based foods. It's possible. You could still be, have a middle class, even if you're not, you don't have a lot of money. You can still buy on sale. There's a lot of ways to save on a plant-based diet. And plus, meat is very expensive nowadays. So if you're eliminating the meat, all you have to is, grains, beans, tofu. Tofu is very cheap. It's just how you want to spice up your options.
So speaking of spice, because we both come from a very dynamic palate,
Yes.
the biggest thing for us is
Salt and pepper is not the only seasoning that's out there. So I know, like for Puerto Ricans, we use a lot of cooking bases like sofrito or recao that we add to our food that makes it and just takes it to another level. So I use salt and pepper in addition to that and other spices. So there's just, it's unlimited options on seasoning.
Same thing with Haitian culinary palette. We have what's called épices, is where I have to get a mortar and pestle and I put all these spices together and then I marinate my fruits or my vegetables and stuff with that. But another thing about salt and pepper, like on a more metaphysical basis, is everything is not black and white. And when we look at veganism, we always feel like it has to look and be a certain way. You have to be athletic, you can't be big, you have to be affluent.
Right.
And it's really important, I feel, as influencers that you start to be yourself as opposed to being what you think you need to show up to be in order to be heard.
Exactly. It's just like embrace your culture, embrace where you come from and who you are. And that's what makes it even better because people look at us and they don't see us as vegans. They're like, wait, you're a vegan? And they're like, why? I don't look like one. But it's because we embrace who we are and where we come from. It's just how it is. Like, going to different restaurants and just even educating people on using different seasoning, or going to a restaurant and saying, hey, why don't you make this but without the meat?
So our takeaways, and we'll speak a little bit more, I guess, on being an influencer or blogger within the breaking the mold construct, is do you, boo. Be your authentic self. When I started my journey in showcasing my journey, because I've been vegan for a while, but I didn't always publicly discuss it or how to vlog or showed it on my Instagram as much as I do now. I was kind of like just showing pictures of my food, and a friend challenged me. She's like, people aren't going to follow you because you have pretty pictures. Some of the people who are going to follow you is because of what you look like, and they see a representation of themselves. So it's really important for you to be your authentic self, which means if you're bloated one day, show your bloated self. Because I feel like in this day and age where everything is photoshopped, we end up losing ourselves in the mix and losing our voice. And what's worked for me personally is being authentic has allowed me to go to different conferences or be interviewed or being showcased or going viral because I was something dynamic let me say, I was a rock in a in a pool of sand. So it's like, oh wait, there goes that rock. I want to showcase that rock. So by being yourself, you have more opportunities to get the exposure that you're looking for, I would say.
And also being myself, I'm using that to educate other, Hispanics or non-Hispanics that want to do this plant-based lifestyle, that maybe want flavorful foods and things like that. So it's just about educating, showing them what I do on a daily basis, how I take certain ingredients and just use the same methods that my family uses when they're cooking their traditional meals, and just making this plant-based version of it. And just how, it's easy. It's not difficult, actually, because a lot of people think, oh, eating vegan diet's too hard. I can't do it. I can't eliminate my meat. But it is, and you feel so much better after you do it that you don't want to go back. And that's pretty much how I feel. And I know other people that I talk to, when they finally see that way of, wow, I have more energy and I don't need to have 3 cups of coffee, that they don't want to go back to the way they were. They want to keep going and try to diversify and look for new ways to make new dishes, or even how to become a better person.
Another takeaway is embrace your culture, which means if you're Italian, make Italian food. If you're Haitian, make Haitian food. I have followers who DM'd me and said that the reason why they followed me was because I was Haitian. And for a long time, I wasn't really even pushing like, hey, I'm Haitian. And then one day I just like, let me put the flag, just so people know, because there's always a question of where I'm from. And it changed some of my audience. And some of my some of the posts that have done the best for me were posts that were related to a dish that was traditional to my culture, and I was able to give like a historical fact about it. For instance, January 1st is the Haitian Independence Day, and we make a soup to celebrate that day. And I made it vegan and posted it on January 1st, and that was my best post ever. And I think it's because, one, oh wow, I didn't know that was your Independence Day. Wow, pumpkin soup, let me try it.
Yeah, recently for me, I did a roasted pork dish that's actually jackfruit, but looks exactly like pork. And in Puerto Rican we call it pernil. So basically, I fooled a lot of people because they thought it was real pork, but it's not, because just the way I took the picture looks exactly like it, and it's marinated the same exact way. I had my family try it, and they're like, that tastes exactly the way it is. So it's just basically even getting my family involved in it and just trying to get them to eat more plant-based foods, and it just resembles what they're used to. So if you could make it taste the same as what they're used to, just a healthier version, that's the way to go, at least for me.
And our last takeaway is let your actions speak for you and touch the world. vegans, in terms of the vegan mode, we get a bad rap. Especially when we move towards that more ethical world, like, oh my God, I can't believe you're wearing that. And you know, honestly, to get people to like contemplate a plant-based lifestyle, let your actions speak for you as opposed to like pointing a finger and telling them that they're doing something wrong. Just be light and people will be attracted to that light.
Exactly. Like I would go to work and bring plant-based lunches and people will look at my lunch and want to eat it as opposed to me eating what they were having. So it was like, oh, what are you eating? And I was like, oh, this is, plant-based, 100% plant-based. They're like, maybe I should become a vegan, because that looks good or it smells really good. And sometimes then they want to eat my food and then I'm like, okay, great, now I have nothing to eat because you want to eat my food. But it's just showing that it's possible and how to do it is just the way I think to pretty much convert a lot of people, because it's a less hostile approach as opposed to pointing the finger and saying, hey, you're eating, that's, that was an animal that was once alive and now it's not here because the whole, factory farming and all that stuff. But if you're just showing like, wow, this is what you can do and it's not hostile, it's a better approach.
So, any questions for us? Yeah. Yes.
So,
say that again? I can't hear you. Yeah.
how long did it take for your health issues to go away once you started?
Okay, so I have what's called a prolactinoma, and that causes irregular menstrual cycles. So I thought that I could just go plant-based and get off my meds and everything would be okay. And I literally had a TMI, menstrual cycle, for a whole month. And I went to the doctor and he was like, they essentially put me on birth control in middle school to help regulate my menstrual cycle. And my doctor's like, you can't do that because now your body is very, it's used to having that hormone there. So when you take it away, it goes into shock. So I had to go back on my meds. And then I called a naturopath who put me on a holistic protocol. And then I was able to wean myself off the medication. And then from there, I was able to wean myself off the herbal protocol. And I'm not doing either one. I'm not on meds and I'm not on herbal protocol anymore. And I'm able to have a menstrual cycle every month without any assistance, where I was told that would never be the case. So it takes time. It depends on your condition. As far as my autoimmune disorder, just because I'm dealing with multiple layers of things, for me it was just keeping it in remission. So I am also mindful of not what I put in my mouth. I had to think of how I eat through my skin. So I ended up getting a henna tattoo very shortly after I went vegan, and that caused my body to react. And so I also had to change not only how I ate, but what products I used on my skin. But I promise you, the body's an amazing thing. It can heal itself. There's things that they'll say that aren't curable. A lot of things can be cured. You just need to find the right guides. And your body is your biggest compass. So I say get yourself in a place where you can actually start to listen to your body again, and it'll tell you what works and what doesn't work. So my plant-based diet has changed because of my condition. A lot of times when we're vegan, we eat a lot of processed foods when we transition over. But for me, that can't be the case because I want to eat to live and not live to eat. So that's why I'm more high raw now, to help in terms of like making sure that I'm more alkaline and less inflammation in my body. Yes.
So, what are the major differences between plant-based and raw? I mean, in your case, because of just the health issues.
Okay, for me with the raw, I have more energy. My gut is happier with the raw. My skin is happier with the raw. A raw diet is one in which you don't cook anything, and if you apply any heat, it's not above 115 degrees. And so when we say fully raw, it means that you're 100% raw. If you say high raw, we're saying that you're 60% or above. So right now I maintain a high raw diet, and most days I'm fully, it just depends. I won't be fully this week. I love the burger battle. But so the difference for me is definitely I have scar tissue on my colon because of my scleroderma. So I need to make sure I have a lot of fiber in my diet in order to move things along, and so I thrive better with a high raw. And I feel like everyone should have at least 50% of their diet raw. If you're a living thing, you should be putting living things in your body. Even if you eat cooked foods, 50% of your day should be raw. And it's as simple as having a green smoothie and a salad every day. That's 50% of your day. So
for your clients that you're looking for, sorry, when you're introducing new clients to plant-based meals, do you mix in some of your Asian cuisine in there, or do you just do like average plant-based dishes?
both. Did you guys hear her question? Yes. So she asked if, and that's for both of us, we definitely make sure that I'm inclusive. And I'm inclusive like because I like global food in general, so I don't just do Haitian food. Like my spice rack has spices from Ethiopia because I love Ethiopian food. I have spices from India. Like I'm all over the palette in terms of what I prepare.
Exactly, and I'm the same way too. Like I cook a lot of Hispanic food, but I also cook Indian and other cultures and stuff. I mean, maybe it's not as pure as maybe an Indian, a true Indian would do it, but I try to experiment as well. Because you have to open your palate. You have to try new things. That's the only way you're gonna be successful on this lifestyle.
I would say the best thing, I think you might agree, for me is I eat way more food than I did before.
Yeah.
I used to eat the same thing, essentially as a rotation of the same meals before I was plant-based, and now I'm trying foods that I probably would have never tried had I not switched my diet.
I mean, I eat a lot as well, but I also don't eat as often as I used to. Because before I would eat and still be hungry an hour later. And when you eat, especially a high fiber diet, your hunger doesn't, it lasts longer. You could go between meals, and sometimes like I won't have lunch until much later because I'm not hungry. Like the fiber fills you up. Like I always preach like a lot of fiber. Like try to get as much fiber as you can because that's the only way you can feel full longer. Like protein is great too, but fiber also helps.
We have 5 more minutes. Any other questions? Yes.
So both of you spoke about how to make substitutes for traditional dishes. Your maybe you talked about the pork dish. But how do you feel about, especially when introducing to families or people who have these traditional expectations for how food should taste, not just like the meals that they know and are familiar with, but things that are kind of outside the food zone, but are in the realm in a way. Like I'm thinking of, why make a pork substitute when you could have something that doesn't taste like pork or look like pork, but it's like something that's kind of already vegan, like something that's purely vegetables or vegetable grains. How to kind of like combine those two so that it's not always like, oh, let's find a way to like veganize this thing.
Right. I mean, I guess for nowadays, a lot of people are just looking for that substitute, which is why like we tend to go with, let's say the burger substitute or the pork substitute. But if you do a lot of dishes, like especially veggie-based dishes, like bowls and things like that are just like grains and vegetables and a soy protein or any other type of protein, it's like a balance of both.
Yeah.
You have to balance, okay, here, like lure them in with the substitute of the burger or the pork, but then here's another dish that you can do as well, maybe later on that day or another time during the week. I would say it's a balance. Try to do both, like lure them in with something that they're familiar with, and then say, hey, here, try this. Also, it's very flavorful and it's delicious.
It's definitely a bridge because a lot of times we don't like to step outside of our comfort zone. So we want to find something familiar that we can relate to. But at the end of the day, it's all about flavors.
Right.
So if it tastes good, even if it's not something that, like a burger or things like that, then people will connect with it. I just sometimes avoid using the vegan word and say, hey, you should taste this.
Right.
And then use a vegan word after.
Or just try this and don't ask any questions.
Like, here's my chocolate cake. I'm not going to tell you I use avocado for my creaminess, and this is carob instead of chocolate. Like, after you say, ooh, that's so yummy, then I hit you with like, yeah, that's vegan.
Right. And I've done that a few times, and now people get suspicious of when I give them things, like what's in it. They'll ask me, especially if they see me eating it and it's something like a substitute, then they'll get suspicious right away.
Yeah, that's the thing that I face all the time, especially for dessert. It's like, well, if I made it, they know that it's vegan. So it's like, well, what did you mess around with in this case?
Yeah.
Right.
But then if they just they're
You had a question?
Instagram accounts, how do you use it to get clients, monetize, upsell, some products, sell
I actually have a meal plan on my website that you can buy. That's like basically a how-to guide of what vegans eat. That's what it's called, what vegans eat, because a lot of times people go, oh, I don't know, I would like to do a vegan diet, I just don't know what to eat. I don't know how to make that transition. And that's pretty much a week full of recipes that show you, they range from like burgers to, let's say, those zoodles, like zoodle, lentil bolognese, things like that, show that you can still have like your traditional favorites, but then also have different meals that are just 100% vegetables and plant-based. So I do have that menu plan, as well as I have a program called the Spark program that if you want to try to do a plant-based lifestyle, I guide you on it. I tell you, how to do it, how to prepare for it, what foods to buy, and things like that.
I have an e-cookbook that I sell, so I am always I promote that. But also, I'm a holistic health consultant, so a lot of times people go on my website as a result of following me, or they'll contact me and then I'll help them. I do consultations, how do you transition, and I also do a lot of workshops. So through my Instagram, I'm able to do workshops nationally. So I just did a meal prep session, a day in the life of the vegan in Maryland, and it was through my relationship with my audience. So I say through consistency, you'll build relationships with different people who follow you, and then they'll ask, hey, would you like to, or once you start saying, I want to do a tour, anyone interested, then you can give workshops. I like to do more hands-on workshops. I do virtual stuff, but I feel like if you're in the room with them, it's a lot, it sticks better.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Just real quick, I know that you're Latin and you probably grew up on meat, and the same way I'm Cuban and my family, they're big on like pork and meat. Is there any advice that you can give as to maybe trying to, not convince, but trying to incorporate the family more into that vegan lifestyle? Like for me, they think I'm absolutely crazy. So, and it's because I'm Latin and that's the way we grew up. So is there any advice that you can, and you as well, can you give on that?
Basically, what I
If you even try to.
I'm still trying to convince my family. Like, it's still a work in progress. I've been trying to do it for the last 4 years, but like little by little, they're accepting of it. Like when I come up with a new recipe, they're my taste testers. So if it passes them, then I know I could pass like a general audience that doesn't necessarily eat plant-based. But it's just giving them like these little options, like little taste tests, and like I also like to preach like what the benefits are. Like, hey, if you want to lower your cholesterol or try to get off diabetes and try to get off the insulin, keep eating this, and I'll just keep trying to give them little taste tests. Sometimes they'll take it, sometimes they won't.
So it's not like an argument.
Right, but little by little they're becoming more accepting of it. So, but they do like certain products that I buy. Well, actually, follow your hearts. Honey mustard dressing. My whole family likes to eat it, and then I have no dressing. So, like, it's a slow process.
Yeah.
So it's just
the reason why I changed my lifestyle is because my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, and we didn't want to put her on chemo, so we kind of changed our entire diets. But it's like every single day for the past 3 years, I'm in a constant argument with with the household because they don't understand the importance of it. So I'm just always stressing about it. So I wanted to see if there was any, advice, but that's good. I try and give them, little samples here and there, but sometimes they don't.
I would also say don't engage in those arguments. Just let your actions speak
Yeah, I think I'm
to the lifestyle. And just for me, because I would say I've been doing this for a little bit longer. It's 16 years now. So for Thanksgiving, they make vegan dishes. I didn't show them vegan dishes. They know I'm coming, so my family's like, okay, we got to make sure that this doesn't have any meat, and we have da. Where my mom's made stuff, and I was like, Mom, you sure this isn't gonna have any? She made some eggplant. I was like, this is eggplant? She's like, yeah, I just did this and this and this. So I think if you're just consistent and just let your actions speak for you, as opposed to trying to get into that dialogue. 'Cause honestly, I never thought I would be vegan. I loved chicken. I saw a documentary and they were showing me what they were doing to the chickens, and I was like, I don't care, I like my chicken. And it just one day it clicked, right? And it clicks for different people in different ways. So it might not be what you say, it might be something of watching What the Health. Everyone has a different motivation for them to come along this road. Just do you, and let your actions speak for themselves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you find that, like you said, you let the action speak for itself? Do you find that people seeing the results of converting to veganism was more effective than tasting the food necessarily?
For me, they saw a combination of both. They saw how I lost weight, my skin cleared up. Like they could tell different, I guess, changes in me that I couldn't even tell in myself. Like they were like, wow, your skin is glowing. I'm like, oh, okay, it is. But things like that, like other people are able to see it, especially if they knew you from before. Like, especially my family and my friends that I'm close with, they see the difference. Sometimes it's a little bit of a motivation for them, like, wow, she lost the weight and it stayed off for several years now. Maybe I should do it. So things like that, it does help.
I would definitely say it's a combination of both. Because I came into this, different people come into veganism for different reasons. I came in for health reasons, and then all the other stuff came in later. So for me, definitely, oh, wait, you're not on your meds anymore? I want to do that plant-based thing. So definitely the results of that, and because of my tumor, I have issues with weight fluctuation, so me being able to just regulate my weight is motivation. So whenever you're like, oh, you're vegan and you lost this weight, or for some people, they think I'm thick to be a vegan, so that's also motivation for some people. Like, I want to keep my carbs and be vegan. So it just depends on the person and the context.
And also in the Latin community, I guess people who have seen me earlier, they thought, oh, she was good because I had curves. I mean, I still have curves, but when they see me now as a slimmer version of me, they're like, oh, you're too skinny. Oh, you're not eating enough. And it's like, I'm actually eating more than I used to before. It's just what I'm eating is actually good for me. My body's reacting to it in a positive way as opposed to a negative way.
So thank you
so much
for sharing space with us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of this conference.